John McIntyre here, the autoresponder guy, coming to you to show you how to write an email for the email list. This is going to be the weekly email that I send to the Drop Dead Copy mailing list. Instead of just doing like a dummy email that I don't actually use, I thought it would be interesting and informative if I actually showed you the process of writing this week's email. Okay, so the prompt I've got, which I've prepared, apparently no, I haven't. Let's go back here. This is the prompt that I found, right? Now, how I've gotten to this prompt, it was actually, probably a topic for another email. Basically, I go to ChatGPT and say, give me some prompts. And then I'd be more specific about what I want. Give me some prompts to help me personalize a story, use that as an email. Because the reason this is a story-based prompt, right? I want to tell the story in a paragraph. The reason you want to, well, in my opinion, you want to use stories is that everyone has access to AI. Therefore, AI itself and just a prompt that says, write me an email about XYZ it's not an advantage, right? Because everyone has it. If everyone has access to it, it's not an advantage. So what you can do to actually create the advantage is to start being more personal. This could be your personal stories if it's for your own email list, or it could be stories for your clients. And that's a way to make this start to feel a little bit less like it came from AI, a little bit less generic, okay? So the story that I have on my mind to share today is that I once ate a balut when I was living in the Philippines at a beach resort called Badlands. A balut is, and I would probably usually tell this with a voice, I would do a voice message just because that's quicker and easier for me, but for some reason it doesn't work in Chrome and the desktop app is being a bitch today. So I'm going to type it out with you. And the reason I'm showing you this is so you can actually see the actual literal process that I use to write an email like this. Okay, so a balut is a fertilized duck egg that is cooked and then you eat. It kind of looks like a brain. Looks like a brain or something really weird and honestly really gross. It tastes like chicken. Right, so the taste isn't that bad. But the texture, weird as fuck. Crunchy. Was that a beak? Or a breastbone? You get the idea. I can add more details. Obviously, the more details you can add for your story, the more interesting it's going to be. Usually, turn that into an engaging 300-word email for my list of freelance copywriters. That's you. If you're coming to this from an email with a punchy subject line and a takeaway that ties into, let's say, AI and ChatGPT for copywriters. Takeaway that ties into this exact prompt. Into this prompt. Right? Which is what I'm using to write this email. Kind of meta. I know. So, I like that. I might say, like, are there any writers that you want to write like? Include highly specific details that add color. Make the reader imagine the story, see it, feel it, taste it. So let's do that. So then I'll put that in here. So I've added my things there. Crunchy dog fetus and a killer copy prompt. Cool. That's interesting. I went and found the place where the resort is. I didn't even mention that. Puerto Galera, that is where it is. Okay, so I'd say if you've never had balut, it's a fertilized duck egg, as in there's baby duck inside, beak, bones, feathers. They boil it, you crack it open. It looked like a brain marinated in regret. I poked it with my plastic spoon. Something crunched. Was that the beak? So... So there's a couple things here. Usually when I'm working with ChatGPT, for me it's a back and forth process, which I've mentioned before if you've watched my videos or read my emails. So I won't say to Balut, that's all pretty cool. I would say put each sentence in a new paragraph. That's cool. Bad Lads, the owner says he called it that because if he called it very nice and well behaved lads, no one would come. He loved it telling that joke. Okay, I poked it with my plastic spoon. It didn't crunch. It didn't crunch with my plastic spoon. It only crunched in my mouth. You don't eat it with a spoon. You don't eat it with a spoon. You crack a hole in the egg. Slurp out the juices. Gross. Slurp out the juices, then peel and eat it, a bit like a boiled egg. Cool. Dial back the intensity. It feels like you're trying a bit too hard. Sign the email off. Sign the email off as John. First PS is to watch this video. Second PS is to get the AI copywriting secrets bundle. But it's not just a list of prompts. It's eight workshops. 8 workshops with copywriters who use AI. Let's try that and see what it spits out. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It might be a bit longer than my usual videos. Yeah, I once had a balloon on a sweaty Tuesday afternoon in Bogota Galera at a beach resort called Bad Lads. The owner said he named it that because if he called it very nice and well behaved lads, no one would come. He loved telling that joke. If you've never had a balut, it's a fertilized duck egg with a partially developed duck fetus inside. Yes, beak, bones, feathers, the works. You don't eat it with a spoon. First you crack a hole in the shell and eat it. I'll admit it tastes like chicken, but the texture weird as hell. Soft in some places, crunchy in others, and when I bit down, something snapped. Was that a beak? A tiny rib cage? I didn't know and I didn't want to, but here's the point. The experience, as gross as it was, became this email, and I wrote this email using a dead simple AI prompt. There's the prompt. The prompt works like magic for freelance. It grabs attention, makes you relatable. Okay, cool. The only other thing I would add is probably explain the reason for adding personal stories, which is to stand out from the generic BS copy paste prompts and emails that everyone else sends. This less AI-ish. Right, so I'm just going back and forth. I've shown this so many times. This is how I work with this is literally how I work with ChatGPT. So you're just seeing my workflow. I thought this would be really interesting. Okay, I mean, I think this is pretty good. Same structure, same voice, same regurgitated marketing tips. What cuts through is your weird little stories. The ones only you can tell. That's what makes your copy feel human again, not like a robot trying to sell vitamins on LinkedIn. So what's your version of eating a duck face? There you go. Cool. Want to see how I wrote this? Watch the change the BS to. Want to see how I wrote this? Watch the start to finish video here. I like that. Want more magic like this? Not just prompts, but 8 hands-on workshops with real copywriters who actually use AI to get clients, write faster, and stand out. Cool. And this is literally what I'm going to send out, right? So crunchy duck fetus and a killer copy prompt. first thing I want to say pollute. And sometimes I like playing around. Like this is pretty cool as it is. How long has this taken? 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes from start to finish. That's pretty fucking cool, if you ask me, right? Now, what if you make it more snarky? Make it more snarky and irreverent. I like it in a reverent tone. So sometimes I'll play around. If I do this, sometimes it goes a bit over the top. I'm just reading it here. If I'm silent, beak, bones, and feathers, the whole. Oh God, what am I doing? It's pretty good. I find if ChatGPT makes me laugh, it's usually a good sign, and it's pretty good at doing that. If chicken had anxiety in a skeletal system, texture crunchy, soft, then crunchy again. I'm pretty sure I bit the beak. Right, this is pretty good. I'm going to go with this. I mean, there's a personal story in here, right? So this is not something that anyone could write, right? And this would even be quick. I'm adding comments along the way. This would have been done in less than 10 minutes if I wasn't commenting and talking to you and trying to explain my process. So let's see. I'm just going to use this whole email. So I don't like that subject line. I like it. Killer ChatGPT prompt. ChatGPT, yeah, probably ChatGPT, not copy. So let's drop this in. Okay. Sometimes this shit gets in there. I just fucking delete that motherfucker. And now we're going to go through and edit it quickly. So we just go through like this. Want more stuff like this? Want more stuff is a bit fucking lame, isn't it? I want more magic. I say fuck a lot. Guess that's the Australian in me, hey? Cheers. This is how I talk to myself out loud. Now I'm making a video. So, is that gonna work? How does that look? So I don't like how it does that. If I'm honest, cool. So okay. Crunchy duck fetus, and I'm going to read this out loud so it's not just dead silent. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe I'll just read it, and it's going to be silent while I do that. I'm just going to edit it so you can see how much I might or might not edit this. Now, some of this is not like part of this is just my style. Like I like to have these really short paragraphs. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but someone did ask during the last AI copywriting bundle, volume 1, they said, can you show us, editing the whole email? So I thought this would be helpful to actually see not just the coming up with like the prompt and then the email, but the back and forth, the copying it over here, scheduling everything. Okay. So as in there's a partially formed duck inside, big bones, feathers, the whole, oh God, what am I doing? That's okay. Yeah, so we need to add the link, which does not exist right now. This does exist. I'm going to add all this stuff later. You don't really need to see that. Okay. Like, that's pretty good. Look, is it world class? Is it like it came from, I don't know, Gary Halbert or something? Probably not. But you got to remember that in the days of AI, like, copy's everywhere now. People who think that copywriting is this massive advantage, yeah, it's tricky. Everyone's got access to fairly good copy. And this, by adding the personal story, I think makes it a lot better than all the generic shit that you're going to find out there on the internet. Okay, so that's pretty much it. How long did that take us? What are we at? 15 minutes, right? Would have been quicker if I wasn't commenting everything along the way. I'm going to go and that's pretty much it. I'm going to do a test email. It's not really anything I'm going to change, I don't think. And then I'm going to schedule it. But like I said, that's that's logistical stuff. You don't really need to see that. It's kind of boring. So that is this thing. And then basically what I wanted to do with this email is just show you, instead of just giving you a tip and letting you figure it out, I thought, what if I take the tip that the prompt I want to give you, or the idea I want to give you this week for how to use AI copywriting, and then instead of just showing you a random way to use it that doesn't relate to this, what if I use the prompt or the thing I'm showing you, if it's relevant, to write this week's email, and then you can see exactly how I'm doing it. I think it's pretty cool. And it, like I said, 15 minutes. So if you enjoyed this, please like the video, please hit subscribe, leave a comment if you have questions or feedback or some hate mail that's going to make me laugh, as you know. And yeah, that's it. If you want to get on this email list, go to dropdeadcopy.com. There is the AI Copywriting Secrets bundle coming up soon. Volume 2, end of June. Get ready for that. All right. I'll see you next time.